My chord progressions used to sound like this. But now they sound like this. So in today's video, I am going to be showing you guys how I make my chord progressions go from ordinary sounding chord progressions to human and more jazzy sounding chord progressions. But wait, stick around until the end because I'm going to be sharing a secret technique that I learned from analyzing over 100 jazz piano pieces. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to do with this chord progression is we're going to randomize the velocity. So when we randomize the velocities, what we're doing is we're trying to emulate a human playing at different velocities. So, right, as you can hear, I'm not hitting all the notes at the same volume. Therefore, to randomize in FL Studio, you can easily press Ctrl A to select everything and then Alt plus R, right? And then you can adjust the velocity, and this is how hard you're playing the key, and you can also adjust the release, right? And then you can press accept, and then as you can see right now I have this. As you can hear, it's already sounding more dynamic. All the notes are not being played at the same time. It's already sounding dynamic. The second tip is to strum the notes. So if we think about a jazz pianist playing a piece, right? They wouldn't play, right? They wouldn't play them like that, but rather would add some strumming. Right? Therefore, you want to add strumming to your chords. So you can do it by offsetting the notes individually, by clicking Alt, holding on Alt, and then moving the note you want to move. Holding Alt and moving the note. Let me just zoom in. Holding Alt and moving the note. Alright. As you can hear, that sounds good, but if you're using FL Studio like I am, you can hold Alt and press S. This will bring out the strummizer tool. You can adjust the strummizer tool accordingly. I do not suggest that you strum all the chords at once, because what happens is they have the same strumming profile. So this is what I mean. Let's say we adjust, and as you can hear, right? It all still sounds computerized because they are being played in the same way. Therefore, what I would suggest is you select one chord, Alt S, and then adjust accordingly, so it's going to have its own strumming profile. Therefore, the next chord we also select and adjust, and you can do this for the rest of the chord progression. Tip number 3 is to actually change up the rhythms. So what do I mean by change up the rhythms? As we can hear, this chord is playing the same rhythm. And as you can hear, this rhythm is kind of repetitive. Therefore, we want to emulate kind of a bored pianist who doesn't want to play the same thing. So this is how it sounds. Right? We can make really staccato. as you can hear, we have a bit more groove and rhythm, so you can change up the notes, and this gives it a even more realistic feel than the previous two tips. So hi guys, I go by the name of King Obza, and on this channel I share over half a decade of music production advice, as well as the mistakes I made, just so you can supercharge past them. So let's go to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is to actually play something in. Like, you want something to sound realistic, you gotta make it realistic. So what I mean is, it doesn't have to be perfect. Right here I have this kick, and let's say I want to play in a chord progression. Let me find the chords, right? Let's say the chords are just, for this video, right, very standard. Right, so what I would do is I would press, right, and as you can hear, I'm not perfect, I'm not a jazz pianist. So what we want to do now is to do the exact opposite of what we're doing in the previous tips. So in the previous tips we were humanizing the chords, adding imperfection. Now we want to actually add some perfection so it doesn't sound mediocre and we have a nice sounding performance, right? So as you can see now, these chords are cutting way too fast, I'm releasing the notes way too fast. Therefore, I want to sustain them a bit, and then, right? As you can see right here, I was changing up the rhythm. So once you play something in, your best friend is not the strum tool, but rather the quantize tool. So now going to the bonus tip. I've actually implemented the bonus tip throughout the whole video, and it's to actually think like a jazz pianist. If you look at this chord progression, you can see that I'm leaving each note at varying times. As you can tell, I'm letting go of the melodic notes and then after I let go of the bass notes. So what you would want to do is to now, going back to our first chord progression, you want now to subtend the bass notes, since that is the property that we got from a piece that I actually played in. So I want to extend the bass notes, and looking back at this chord progression, my bass notes are really loud, as you can see. Therefore, I want my bass notes in the other chord progression to be as loud. Alright, so I'm going to increase the bass notes. The bass notes are going to be some of the highest notes that are playing. Right, so making chord progressions sound jazzy is only the second part of the equation. So if you guys want to learn how you can make chord progressions, make sure to click on this video.